that each tribe brought. When the temple was inaugurated, the Mishkan was inaugurated, it was inaugurated by each of the members of the 12 tribes. So each of the tribes had a Nasi, each of the tribes had a prince, or sort of like a president of the tribe, and each one of them came to the inauguration, and they came with their gift, their korban, their sacrifice. And they brought their sacrifice, and each one brought the exact same sacrifice. So we know that the Torah says that it never repeats something or has an extra word unless there's a reason for it. The Torah doesn't use words superfluously. It doesn't just throw words out. So the question by the rabbis is, if the Torah is going to repeat 15 times the same thing, why doesn't it just list all of the names of the 12 individuals who are head of their tribes and then say, this is the korban? Why does it have to go through the whole list of each name and then the same korban? The next person's name and the same korban. Why mention each and every time the korban over and over again? That being said, let's look at the beginning of the handout. The first handout that you have is the one with the black top, and it says, "Vaydaber Hashem el Moshe lemor." God spoke to the children, to Moshe, the following: "Nasol et rosh bnei Gershon gam him lebeis avosom lemishpachosam." If you remember last week, we counted all of Israel, but we didn't count the tribe of Levi. Levi was counted separately. So here it says, lift up the heads of the sons of Gershon, and we will count them according to their families and their household. Miven shlashim shana above, from 30 years of age and above, ad ben chamishim shana, until 50, tivkol osam, you will count them. Kol avod litzvot tzavol, avod avodah v'lo. All those who entered the division to serve in the avodah, in the army, or in the army of God, into the army of working in the temple. Okay, now, the first question I have for you is, we learned last week that when God counted us, He counted 600,000 young men who were going to go into the army. How old were they? Who remembers? How old are you now? 20. How old are you now here to work in the service of God? 30. So 20-year-olds to go into the army, but 30-year-olds to go into the service of God. Why the difference? Why the difference? Why? If you're old enough to go into the army at 20, why do you have to be 30 to work in the temple?
More mature,
more knowledgeable. So the Torah wants you to know and understand. When you go into the army, what is the purpose of being in the army? To protect and to defend. And when you go to war, what is the purpose of war? To kill, right? Kill the enemy, right? Yes, unless you're America, you kill the enemy. All right? So when you go into the army, you don't need to be a chacham to be able to kill somebody. Okay? A 20-year-old can figure that out if you train him properly. But to work in the service of God, to work in the shul, to work in the temple, and to do the avodah on behalf of Bnei Yisrael, on behalf of the Jewish people, you have to have some experience. 20 years old is not enough. You have to be 30. You have to have life's experiences, and you have to learn from your elders before you, so that you have experience enough to go in. But you have to do it only until 50, just like in the army. You can only service until 50. After that, the service is over. So now the Torah wants to tell you who are these families of the Leviim, who are these special families, and what was their service. So it says, Zos avodas mishpachos HaGershon, verse 24, this is the service of the family of Gershon, la'avod u'lema'asah. Their service was to carry and to serve God in the temple. So look at Rashi. Nasol b'nei Gershon. Rashi wants to tell you, what does that mean? Who are they? Just like I commanded you for the sons of Kahas. Leros kamo yesh shehiyu l'chlal. So you know how many are determined to work in the temple and what their category is. So you know that Moshe came from the tribe of Levi. Aaron, who became the Kohen, also came from the tribe of Levi. They were Leviim first, but they ascended to the heights of being Kohanim. They became Kohanim. But the rest of the tribe that are not from the descendants of Aaron remained Leviim. And the Leviim worked in the service of God in the temple. But they were not Kohanim. They didn't do the avodah in the temple, but they serviced the temple in different ways. For example, the Mishkan, we know in the temple, was a portable sanctuary. That's what the Mishkan means. That means that when we were 40 years in the desert, we had to assemble this portable sanctuary that traveled with us throughout the desert. So who assembled it and disassembled it? And when it was disassembled, who carried it and who transported it and who packed it up and who placed it all over? So the Torah tells you there's a family called Kahat who had certain duties, and there's a family called Gershon. The Gershuni was the family that was responsible for packing everything up, putting it away, and transporting it. So that's what the Torah telling you. And the Torah tells you what was in verse 25, the Nasu Yiriyot HaMishkan. And it was their duty to carry the tapestries, which were the curtains of the Mishkan Torah Moed, and the tent of the meeting, which is the actual structure itself. What's the structure made out of? Michseinu, it had a cover. You turn the page, right? You're on the next page already. And it was also the covering of the tachat, which is on top of it, and the screen for the entrance of the tent of the meeting. So that we know that there were two curtains, right? We only know, everyone knows about one curtain. The one curtain that we have in front of our ark, what do we call it? What do we call it? In Hebrew, a parochet, right? Miriam's right. It's called a parochet, right? But the parochet was the inner curtain separating the Kodesh from the Kodesh HaKadashim, from the Holy of Holies. That's called a parochet. But the outer curtain, which was the curtain to come into the Mishkan, was called a masach. That was called the outer curtain. So their job was to disassemble it and to take the outer curtain off and to carry it. And also the hanging tapestries of the courtyard, the screen for the outer entrance to the gate of the courtyard, Shera Mishkan, which was by the tabernacle, and the altars, Saviv, and all the ropes and all the service utensils, and all that went into making and to putting together the Mishkan that they were going to serve in. So Rashi details now what all these things were. We're not going to have time to go into that, so we're going to turn to page 3. So the Torah wants you to know on verse 27, the Torah continues and says, Al pi Aharonu banav, only by the instruction of Aaron and his sons, can all of this be accomplished only by their direction. So they were the ones directing the Leviim what to do. And you shall fix specify appointments for them, for everything they carry. So Aaron and his sons. Now how many sons did Aaron have? 4. There were 4 sons, and Aaron. So Aaron and 4 sons make how many Kohanim in the desert? 5. So there were only 5 Kohanim that were in the desert at the time who serviced all of Israel. However, 2 of his sons died, right? We know that none of them died. So how many were left? 2. So how many were there? There were only 3 Kohanim. But there's a 4th Kohen. Later on we'll learn that there was a guy, our grandson called Pinchas, who did the service of God by killing the people who were fornicating in front of Moshe and all of Israel, and he was elevated also, even though he was already born at the time and he wasn't originally scheduled to be a Kohen, he became a Kohen. So there were a total of how many Kohanim? Aaron and his 2 sons is 3, and Pinchas ended up being the 4th one, so there were 4 Kohanim to service, and they were in charge of the Leviim. So it says, verse 28, this is the service of the families of the sons of Gershon, in the tent, and they're under the guardianship, the auspices of who? Who's in charge of them? Itamar, the son of Aaron, the Kohen. So we just said Aaron had 2 sons left, right? None of them died. So the last 2 left were Elazar and Itamar. Elazar became the high priest when Aaron dies. Itamar, his younger brother, he was in charge of telling everybody where everything goes when they pack it up and they leave and how to put everything back together again. Bnei Merari, another one of the Levi, the family of the Leviim, called the sons of Merari, they also are counted. You also count them according to their house, or according to their fathers. Again, the Torah tells you from 30 years old until 50 tifidim. You count them. Turn the page. All who enter into the service of God, into working for the temple, working for the Mishkan. This is what they did. L'chol avodas hamoed, on all their duties in the Mishkan, Kasher Mishkan, they took all the boards, uvrichov ve'amudov ve'adarav, and the bars and the pillars and the sockets together. The amudei chotzer seviv, verse 32, the pillars around the courtyard. The adneim, you see, the somim esrehem, their sockets and their stakes and the ropes. The chol chleihem, the chol avodas somim v'shevos tifkudu kol chleim mashberas masa'am, and they took all the utensils that were in charge. They were in charge of carrying all those things. Zos avodas mishbechos b'dei rori, the chol avodas somim ve'al turn the page. The yadi samar ben Aaron kohen, they were the ones who carried. So now you have three sons. You have Kahas, Gershon, and Merari. These are the three sons of Levi. Who was Levi? Levi was a son of Jacob. Jacob had 12 sons, right? The second son was, the third son was Levi. Reuven, Shimon, Levi. Levi became the special tribe designated and consecrated into the service of God. They became the teachers. The Kohanim became the teachers and the instructors for all of the duties of the time. There were no rabbis. There were no cantors. There were no spiritual leaders. There were Kohanim. The Kohanim were the ones in charge. And they were designated to be the example and also to be the mentors and the teachers of the Jewish people. In the tribe of Levi, there were four sections. There was the tribe of Ger, there was the family of Kehas, Gershon, Umerari. And there was also the family separated alone of Aaron. And that family became the priests. And then the other three families, the ones we just talked about right now, they are the ones responsible for all the mundane things. If you can call such a word, say such a word as mundane. Anybody working in the temple is not mundane. Like somebody who comes in to work in the synagogue and volunteers their time. That's considered to be avodas hakodesh. That's considered to be holy work. So it's not mundane. But when someone says you have to stuff envelopes, someone says you have to, answer the phone. Someone says, you have to make deposits. People say, it's mundane work. It's not. If you're working for the shul, it's called avodas hakodesh. It's called holy work that you're doing in the name of God. So these are the tribes. These are the families of those three tribes, and this is what they were responsible for doing. Verse 36. And the Torah counts them. It says, according to their families, they were all of them combined were 2,750. See, these are the numbers of the families of the Kehaz. All those who served in the avodah of the temple. That Moses and Aaron counted according to the word of God and Moshe. So the Torah is telling you how many there were and what their avodah was, what their service was.